Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board.
Oh! Well, hello tubers, hope you're doing well wherever you are in this crazy YouTube universe. Today let's talk about that crazy Campbell soup debacle that just happened. It's absolutely hilarious. And it's fascinating when an executive from a large corporation says and does dumb things. It kind of reminds me a bit of so many other scandals that have happened in the past, like the Bud Light one. Like who? Really? You don't know your customers?
This afternoon, the vice president of Campbell's Soup is under fire after a recording of him making controversial remarks has gone public. A former employee released the recording after he says he was fired for reporting the VP's comments to management. Now, that employee is now taking legal action against the company. He says the full audio is more than an hour, and it shows VP Martin Bally attacking Campbell's products and their customers.
I don't buy Campbell's products barely anymore. It's unhealthy. Now that I know what the in it, even in a can of soup, I look at it, look at me, bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer. You?
And when this executive of Campbell's Soup Corporation really spends over an hour in a recording that was secretly recorded by a terminated staff member. Here, I'll give you a little background for some of you that may not actually know, because a few of you aren't probably up to speed on it. But there was this employee who was complaining about all sorts of harassment and had various grievances, and he recorded one of the VPs talking about Campbell Soup and saying how the food is for poor people, and it's genetically engineered food that comes out of a 3D printer. Now, I'm sure he was using some hyperbole there in terms of the 3D printer, but anyway, this guy was terminated for actually going public with this recording and this information. So he's probably gonna get a nice settlement. They'll probably pay him a nice juicy settlement to go away. But at the same time, Campbell Soup has a big PR problem, and rightfully so. But the point I'd like to throw in here, because a lot of vloggers are talking about this, but my take is that the VP was correct, that it is for poor people. And Campbell Soup has gone downhill. Now, I have the blessing of being older, which means I can reference what Campbell Soup products tasted like 40 or 50 years ago. 50 years ago, of course, I would have been a kid, but definitely was eating a lot of Campbell Soup. And it was easy, for your mother to, make lunch. You come home from school and you get a grilled cheese and some Campbell Soup. You just open up a can, add a can of water, heat it up, throw it in the microwave, whatever. Pretty simple. And it actually tasted better. In fact, I'm going to do a video on how so much fast food used to taste better. But, it's convenience food. It's shelf-stable for a while. And it used to taste a lot better.
If you're like most homemakers I know, you've got a cupboard full of Campbell Soup. And when you've got a cupboard full of Campbell Soup, you've got a cupboard full of recipes for great economy dishes. And
in fact, Campbell Soup is for the poor people. Not to say that rich people can't eat it, but over the years, I eat a lot of convenience food, but Campbell's products, typically their soup, it's one of those products where, you buy a chicken noodle soup or something like that, and you stick the can in your cupboard, and you just leave it there. And there's that one day, a year later, where you go, I'll have some Campbell's Soup, hot soup on a cold day type thing, where you rarely have it. And in fact, I've noticed there's something weird about Campbell Soup where I think about 4 years ago, bought some Campbell Soup at a dollar store, and it was awful. It's absolutely awful. And it was, Campbell Soup. I don't buy tomato soup. I usually buy like vegetable or minestrone or chicken noodle. But the stuff that they were blowing out of the dollar store, it was just nasty. And it wasn't expired. I checked the date, checked for the obvious things. Just nasty. and it's just a factory food, you know. I don't know what it is. But anyway, this VP is off on leave while they decide what they're going to do with his career. Yeah, he might probably get canned. Because when you work for a company, you have a certain duty where you can't work for a corporation X and then go on social media and slam the shit out of them and expect to keep your job. You know, these type of decisions are entrenched in common law, and you know, you have a certain duty that you can't badmouth your employer and expect to have a job, you know, for obvious reasons. But it begs the question, well, how would somebody who has a fairly decent paying job and a high level of responsibility for the Campbell Soup Corporation, why didn't they have enough sense to shut the F up? You know, when you ramble on over an hour in a recording, and of course the juicy part is when he's ranting about how Campbell Soup is for poor people and it's just engineered food that comes out of a 3D printer.
No soup for you! Come back 1 year!
You know, didn't have enough sense to self-correct or self-police, or, you know, that's the problem with people misbehaving all the time and having consequences, because they can't self-regulate. They have no internal discipline. You know, we all have these moments where you're in a lineup at Walmart and, you know, there's an idiot in front of you and you feel like saying, you know, shut the F up, Jabu. But you don't. At least 99.99% of the time. They really have to cross a certain threshold before, you know, you're gonna have to be ultra assertive. But I don't know what it is, especially when people commit career suicide. See that all the time. People just love to commit career suicide. You know, let's face it, most high-paying jobs, it's not easy to come by. Especially a lot of these VP jobs, they're BS jobs where, hate to say it, it's like these government jobs I've seen where people climb the ranks. They have no skills. It's not like they're a licensed pharmacist or a licensed engineer or a licensed physician. You know, people with high skills that require licensing and many years of practice. No, these are fluff jobs. Especially, you know, VP of marketing, VP of gender equity, VP of lost staples and lost paper clips. It's just so much fat in the corporate world even, and there's the myth that corporations are always a lot more efficient than government. Often they're not, and often they're mismanaged, and hence they go bankrupt. But I think Campbell Soup kind of does deserve a lot of this, because their product has turned to crap, just not the product that it used to be. I don't know what it is. Is it just me? You guys put your comments in the comments section about Campbell Soup and their products, because I swear to God, their stuff was better 30, 40, 50 years ago. And now it's really become more just processed garbage with blah blah taste. And it's like, if they want to add flavor, their go-to is just add sugar, add salt. or even in the restaurant industry, just add bacon. You know, add bacon. Yeah, it's like they've, you know, I guess these companies become like institutions, and they just think they'll be around forever and people will forever buy their stuff. But, you know, there's so many trends that are slowly changing. I notice people don't buy as much frozen orange juice anymore. People don't buy as much breakfast cereal. Of course, there's the baby boom's over, but I remember when, you know, the breakfast cereal aisle was, you know, 20 yards long, and it was huge. I mean, it's shrunk a bit. Same with cookies. Cookies especially. The cookie section in your local grocer is much smaller. And I'll be very honest, the cookies today, not as good as they used to be. I don't know what it is. It's just because I'm getting old. Because, I mean, not everything in life is worse today. I mean, a lot of things so much more better with technology, but there's a lot of things just horrible.
The fired employee, Robert Garza, says he recorded the conversation thinking he'd discuss his salary with Bally. The suit claims Bally also made racist remarks, admits to coming to work high, and Garza was fired for coming forward. Garza calls the way the canned soup company handled it, quote, terrible.
And I think Campbell Soup and that VP, well, he's gonna get something. And whatever he gets for punishment, he had it coming. Because he wasn't thinking. And at the same point, everybody who reads the articles or hears all the thousands of people talking about Campbell Soup, I think some of them, like me, are gonna go, yeah, this food is for poor people with no sense, that just buy this crap and accept it. It's really not that great of a product anymore.
This way I know to stretch my food budget is to reach into my cupboard for a can of Campbell's soup.
And trust me, I've been in situations where I've worked for government for years and I had nothing but contempt for government. But we all expect government to be incompetent and filled with incompetent idiots and bullies, and you know, that's what we expect. But from corporations, we expect them to manage their affairs a little bit more appropriately, don't we? But anyway, hope you guys are doing good wherever you happen to be. Beautiful day here in terms of it's not raining, so figured I'd go for a walk, crank out the video, and you guys put your comments down below. Tell me what you think about this Campbell's debacle. In the meantime, folks, stay safe. Over and out.
What is that right there? Is that lima bean?
Yes.
Never been a big fan.
Gonna figure out what we've done, what we need to do. Yeah, I got you, I got you, I got you.